Put your hand up if you don't know how to search for properties on MLS. You're not be embarrassed, I promise. I assumed half the class had never logged into MLS. So we're good. Okay, awesome. All right, so your primary tool for doing a CMA is going to be the MLS feed because that's where you can get the information to find out the comparables to create a CMA. Someone tell me what CMA stands for. Okay, so analysis is the least important word of that. Comparative, what does that mean?
Like for like.
Like for like. Market, what does that mean? Advertise. It's marketed. Okay. The concept of a CMA is we're in a normal market condition. It's either buyer, seller, or balanced, but it's normal. It's not broken. That people are going online and they're looking for properties online and they're going to find a home to go see. Then they're going to go see that home. They're going to compare the few that they look at and they're going to make a decision to buy something. So what we're trying to do is we're taking a home that's not in the market, comparing it to the market so that we can price it correctly to get it sold. How many of you guys want listings that never sell? How many of you guys have listings that never sell? Yeah, okay. There's a couple of reasons why that can happen, but the number one reason why homes are listed that never sell is because the agents don't know how to do a proper CMA. So they tell the client something that's never going to happen. They list it and then they don't know why it didn't sell. Okay. So I'm starting with a basic general outline. This is not some super technical class. We're going to spend maybe 15 minutes on this, and then we're going to come up to the board and actually do a CMA. And if we have time, we'll do another CMA. So if you've got a home that you want to do a CMA on, that's fine. I'm going to start with a simple one. Okay, we're going to start with a simple one just because. All right. So let's start with the outline. The first thing that you want to do is you want to identify the property you're working with. Okay. The second thing you're going to do is you have to make certain assumptions about what that price is, because if you don't know a little bit about what things are worth, it's really hard to narrow it down to prove what it's worth. What happened? Oh, hang on. Was that me or you? Okay. Sorry, my screen went blank. Okay, I got to remember to touch it. There you go. All right. The second thing is you have to make certain assumptions about what's happening in the market. You have to have you should have a general real estate knowledge, which is not general knowledge. Okay. General knowledge is people that are not in the market to buy a house have a general knowledge about houses. The next level should be people that are thinking about buying a house. And then it should be professional realtors and agents who operate in the market helping buyers and sellers in terms of how much knowledge you should have. Since Zillow, general knowledge is the same for people that aren't in the market, but 99% of active agents have less knowledge about the market than the buyers that they're trying to sell to. Because what is that buyer doing every Friday night? They're looking at product every Friday night, 2-3 hours a time. That's what they're doing. If you're not looking at product and you don't know what's for sale, you are behind the buyers and sellers you're trying to work with. So when I say you need to have general understanding of the market, look at houses. Look at them in person, look at them online. Have an understanding of what things are worth just off the top of your head because you see enough stuff. How long does it take you when you're really looking at property like that ain't worth that? It don't take long to know that's crazy, right? That's a crazy price. Okay. So the third thing that you're going to do is you're going to do your research, and that's where this tool comes in. We're going to research what's active in the market, what's sold in the market, and we're going to compare a home that we have to those things. Then the next thing is you're going to validate your research, and we'll talk about how to do that. And the last thing is you're going to repeat the process until you get a narrative about the home that you can prove to someone. Okay. So let's get started early with the first thing. Number one, identify what do I have to work with? Okay. This is about categorizing the home to figure out how you're going to do your search, right? So the first thing is house type. What kind of house types do we have out there? In most suburban markets, you have what? Single family detached, single family attached. If you're working in Decatur, some of the in-town things, you may get a condo, which is a little bit different, right? But basically, it's townhomes and houses. Yes. Now, once you top the houses, most of what you're going to be working with is houses, at least out here. Okay. If it's houses, then you have to go to the next level, which is location, meaning is it rural? Is it urban? Is it suburban? Is it in a neighborhood? Is it not in a neighborhood? All of these things matter, yes? Is there an HOA? Is there not an HOA? That matters, but not as important for this feature. This is about how do we find value, okay? The next thing is age. Yeah, how I got to where? They're not on that screen. No, we're on this. We're going over this for the first 10 or 15 minutes. Yeah, no worries. And what you're looking at here, we're going to look do it because this is my computer and my MLS. And I'm going to be typing in things and showing you stuff. So when we go over this part, you should be writing notes. And I'm going to show you some tricks about how to find things and how I do my searches and how I do my sorting. Okay. All right. Age. We got to categorize homes. There's new construction. Most of y'all ain't going to have a new construction CMA to do, right? Unless you're working it for a buyer, possibly, right? But there's new construction housing. And then there's new resales. New resales are between 1 and 3 years, meaning that it's a new construction that's sold since like 2022, 2023. That's a new resale. Now, I never used to categorize new resale until the last 2 or 3 years because I've got $1 million buyers that bought in 2024 that are selling in 2026 and a couple of them that sold in 2025. That never happened. You did not have people buying new homes and then changing their mind and trying to sell and think that they should not lose money on that. Okay. So I have to categorize that special because it's going to come up. You're going to get a call and you're like, holy cow, the builder's still in this neighborhood. Any neighborhood that you have a potential listing in that the builder is still active in is a new resale. I don't care if it's 7 years old, right? Like you got to know. Next one, young resale, 3 to 10 years old. Okay. Why do I stop at 10-year for a young resale? What starts happening to houses after 10 years? Roof, HVAC, water heater. Now it's a question of is it updated or is it not? But a young resale is still inside its first life cycle as a home. So the kinds of repairs are replace the carpet, replace the paint, touch up. General maintenance is fine for a young resale. The other reason I use 10 years is when we did feasibility studies for national builders, we always compared apples to apples, new construction and new construction. But I had to validate that with an analysis of young resales because at that time, a new construction home in a balanced market should get up to a 10 to 20% premium over a young resale, right? But the same thing works in reverse, right? If I have a young resale and I got new construction in my area, if they're within 10% of me, I'm going to lose that sale. And I will tell you, in this day and age, it's worse than that because they're buying rates down to compete head to head with you in payment. And we'll talk about that. The next one is the size of the home. We got to categorize size. Am I dealing with, what kind of house am I dealing with? Am I dealing with slab versus basement, right? So what you're trying to do is, what are the categories that I want to set into my searches to be able to find a comparable sale? And there's 1,000 different ways to sort and search in MLS. These are the ones you have to do a CMA, okay? So slab versus basement. Do you have square footage? Should be a range for that. Is it finished square footage in the basement or is it an unfinished basement? All of those things matter when you're trying to find a comparable. And then the last one, is it a ranch versus 2-story? Why would I differentiate between a ranch and a 2-story? Why is it not just the square footage? Target what? Target buyer, right? If I have a ranch, it could be smaller square footage because I'm appealing to people that don't want stairs. So when I go to compare prices, should I be comparing my ranch to a 2-story that's bigger Probably not at the beginning. I want to see if there's other ranches selling for my price point. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. And then the last thing is you need to know the current condition of the property you're looking at. And I'm breaking them into categories for you. The reason I've got these categories here is because this is how you need to be thinking when you're looking at comps. When you're looking at the homes that you're trying to compare to. Move-in ready condition. Somebody tell me what move-in ready means. Hmm? Define it. Define it for a starter home. Yep. Possibly. On a starter home, I would say, no, it can have furniture. That's not, we'll talk about that. You're onto something.
Ready to perform at its highest use.
Don't we wish houses were that? Yeah. Wouldn't our job be easier? Here's on a starting home, it's basically what if it's a first time buyer, what are they coming out of? So what is move-in ready to them?
Dryer, washer, dryer.
There's a washer and dryer, there's a fridge, there's blinds, the paint looks okay, and the carpet has been cleaned. How many apartments do they move into where the paint's brand new and the carpet's brand new? None. But how many of them has marks and stains and bangs on the wall? None. Because they're going to go in there with their little team of guys and they're going to make sure that they back charge that other dude the $50 it took to repair the trim where his dog chewed the door jamb off. All right. It needs to be move-in ready is I don't have to do anything other than put contact paper in my cabinets and sweep the floor again, right? Because it was clean, but it ain't my wife's clean. Okay. That's move-in ready condition. What about needs cleaning and minor repairs? What do you think that means? It's not carpet and paint because carpet and paint is move-in ready. If it needs carpet and paint, it needs minor repairs.
It's been sitting vacant for a long time.
It could be that. Yes. Yes. So when it basically needs cleaning and repairs, when you're pricing it for someone, what you want to be able to do is price it how it is, and then price it if it was the other, right? So if it's move-in ready, do you have to do anything to the price other than look at other move-in ready and see what the price is? No. But if it needs minor repairs, you have to figure out who wants to buy it with minor repairs. Does the first-time home buyer want to buy it with minor repairs? No. Not a probably. No. Because they're struggling to be able to afford a payment and they're struggling to have two nickels to rub together to buy that house. Okay. So from that standpoint, what you're going to find is the value of the slightest little bit of movement from one category to the next is going to result in you needing to discount the value more than the cost of the repair. So what I would tell you as a rule of thumb, if I have one that's move-in ready, compared it to something that needs cleaning and minor repairs, that's a 5 to 10% drop in value. Not $5,000. Well, I can replace the carpet. They can replace the carpet for $3,500. Great. Spend the $3,500 and replace the carpet and you'll get your price. Well, I don't want to do that. Then discount the house $15,000. What do you mean $15,000? They ain't got the $3,500. So when they see your photos, they ain't even going to come. And the people who are going to come that can afford that, they're not going to say, hey, I can fix this for $3,500. They're going to be like, dang, well, I'm assuming to paint and carpet this house is going to cost me $10,000. I want $5,000 for my trouble, $15,000. Is that not what buyers do? Okay.
And not think what else is wrong. Yeah.
100%. It does. So then the next one below that is, I'm going to keep this up for now, just so it'll stay up. What does need updating?
No brain.
Yeah. Or major repairs. Needs updating. Replace the furnace. Replace the roof. Water heater shot. That's needs updating. What is investor only?
Cash.
No. Yes. The single in your mind, if you're writing notes, this is a note. The single greatest difference between one category of value and the next step up is investor only. Because the investor only wants to get these houses for how much below the replacement cost of the house?
Right now it's running 40%.
40% less repairs. Do you hear me?
40%.
40 less the repairs. So if you got 25 grand worth of repairs on your $200,000 house, they're going to offer you 40% of that's 160. Yes, did I get that right? Yeah, 40% off would be, no, 40% off would be 120. You're at 120 minus the 26,000, you're sitting at about, they'll give you 95 for that. $200,000. Hello. Y'all hear me? Just telling you. Just telling you.
The question is,
Yeah,
you lose 10% going from move-in ready to needs.
5 to 10.
5 to 10.
Yeah.
What would you say you lose between needs cleaning, minor repair, and needs updating? Is that another 5?
Well, it depends on your price point. It depends on your price point. The reality of a lower price point is that jump is greater because once you move from move-in ready, they can't afford the house. And so now you're knocking 85% of the potential buyers for your house out of your marketing, right? You just are. That's why so many of the lower price point homes are selling to investors for below 60% value. And then they're going to slap lipstick on the pig, and then they're going to turn around and list it at full price and make the profit because they turned it into needs minor repairs to what? Yes. And it's also vacant, which means it's going to show better to someone who's used to walking through apartments with no furniture in it. Right? So let's get a little, this is like PhD level, right? We did a listing at $315,000. Okay. My price was 300 to this guy. And he goes, well, I want more than that. He was tough. So I said, let's list it at 315. And his wife agreed. He never agreed. His wife's like, we're moving to Florida. I'm sick of this. Let's go. So we put it at 315. But this was part of my thing on why he couldn't get 325 for his house. If you bracketed $50,000, which is 25,000 below and 25,000 above, and you went back 6 months, 78% of all listings and 85% of all sales were sold vacant. And you're like, so the buyers want the house vacant because that means it looks like it's new. It looks like an apartment that they're used to moving out of. I don't have to do anything. They've got blinds in the windows. You know, they ain't seeing that 35-year-old HVAC unit. Now they'll see it on the inspection, maybe. But the investors come in there and turned it into a move-in ready home. And once the investors take over that much of a market, what it tells the consumer is move-in ready equals what? Vacant. Move-in ready is vacant. So we had to go on every single showing and sell that house because it was full. See what I'm saying? Because we're tricky. All right. That's your identify. Do these make sense? All right. The next step is assume a baseline price assumptions, right? This is super simple. It's intuitive. You just got to have a little bit of knowledge. Are you in the bottom 30% of the market? Are you in the middle 30% of the market? Or are you in the top 30% of the market? Because it determines the assumptions of what you need to look at. Okay. So just know that. Is this a starter home? Is this a move up home? Is this a nice home? Does it help to know what constitutes 30% of the market in your area? Can someone tell me what the break point is for 30% market in Rockdale that's been to my classes and seen my stuff on my stats? You're right. It's only about 350 and up. Everybody thinks the top of the market is like 600, 800, a million. That's like 1 to 2 to 5% of the market is above 600,000. 30% of the market starts at about 350. Okay. So when we're talking the bottom 30%, we're talking under 200. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, how many of you guys came in here thinking you can't buy a house for 200 grand? There ain't no houses for 200 grand. How many of y'all think that? How many of your customers think that? Everybody. No one, you can't click on social media without some Gen Z screaming about how unaffordable housing is and you can't buy nothing and nothing's affordable. And it's because they can't buy what they moved out of their daddy's house, who've been working for 30 years, You see what I'm saying? Like they don't understand what starter means. Starter does not mean the $45,000 a year housing at their college. No, no, it does not. You don't have a barista downstairs in a starter house, right? Okay. I'm making jokes. But you gotta know where you are in the market. Those assumptions will inform you gotta kind of get an idea of what you think the house is worth to start with. What's the most important feature of this house? You're going is it the location? Is it the type of house it is? Is it the age? Is it the condition? What is the single defining issue or benefit that you're going to have to look for to find something like this? Is it a ranch? Is that important? That may be the single most thing, right? Ranches in this price point operate differently than a two-story in this price point. It's in a neighborhood with an HOA in a school district that everybody wants to be in, right? Those kinds of things. So find that one thing that's going to really narrow down what's the most important search criteria for you. Moving on. Now it's time to research it. And this is where we're going to get into this in a little bit. Gosh, I'm already 30 minutes into this. I got to hurry. These are guidelines for how to do the search. I'm not going to go over them in great detail, but if I'm looking at bottom 30% stuff, I'm looking a mile away. I want to find everything that's similar within a mile. What's the goal of the research? You're trying to find 3 comparables. This is me. It's not. Yeah. Okay. I got you. You're trying to find 3 comparables that you can put on a CMA. Do you need something? Or are you good? Okay. Huh? Oh, okay. It was me. I'll let it go dead. 1 mile, max is 3 miles on a starter home. It just is. Okay. If I'm doing middle, which is that, 300 to 400, I'm going to start with like a mile and probably won't find 10 comps that work or 10 homes to look at. And then I'm going to go out to 3 miles, and then I'm going to go out to elementary school, then the middle school, then the high school until I get what I need in terms of volume, right? Does this make sense? Okay. And then the age, new construction, you're only comparing it to other new construction. That's your competition, period. If you're looking at young resales, it's other new construction in your area and homes that are within 2 years old. So if you have a 2022 home, you want to look at 2020 and above. If you're looking at something that's from 2025, go back to 2023 and above, right? If it's an old or a young resale, you notice I put other new construction. They can still be your competition if they're in your price bracket, right? But 4 years max, right? I don't want to have something, and that's not 4 years either way. That's really like 2 years either side. Maybe if you can't find enough comps at that, bump it up to 3 years out. It'll give you a good idea. So if you got something that was sold in like 2019, I'm looking from 2016 to about 2021, and those are my comps, right? We're trying to narrow down as tight as I can get it and still get 10 similar homes to look at minimum. Does that make sense? Size of the house matters. Slabs and basements. Do I comp slabs to basements? Never, unless I have to. When would you have to? You can't find a slab, or yes, if you can't find a slab. But if you can't find a slab, does that tell you what your number one problem is going to be? Everybody's buying basements. Everybody wants a basement. There are certain price points where if I have, and we had this $960,000 slab house in Conyers, less than a year old. I sold that house for $880. Happy to sell it for that. Because once you get above 650, nobody wants a slab. I was so far beyond what the consumer wanted with the product that I had to sell. We had to discount it to find the buyer. It had to be such a stupid deal. Here's a $950 house that he bought a year ago. It's worth $990 if the builder built it for you today, and you're going to get it for $880. And they're like, can't pass that up. They'll buy the value. They'll buy the deal, right? If they, they have to like it, but then you got to give them the deal. And so we had to price it because nobody wants a slab at that price. They all want a basement. So that can come into play. Square footages. If you're under 2,400 square foot, you bracket that thing within 200 square feet in either direction. Okay. So if it's 2,200, you want to go 2,000 to 2,400. Don't be comparing your 2,000 square foot home to some 2,800 square foot home and say, oh, they're just about the same. They're not the same. If you get up to 2,400 to 3,000, you can bump it up to 300 either direction. And if you get above 3,000, you can go 400 in either direction, right? If you notice, I'm keeping that within 8 to 15% max spread, right? That's a good rule of thumb. So does this make sense so far? It's a lot of information, but that's why I wrote it down, right? Like when you go through this, you can say, what did he say my spread should be? And you can just follow it, okay? Last one, you're going to validate your stuff. And we're going to do that at the end. Once I do one of these, we're going to do one real quick. So somebody that has a house, I got my system all ready. Who's got a listing they want to do? Talk to me. Hold on one second. Which county is it in? Oh, don't give me DeKalb. Example wise, DeKalb is a pain in the you know what? Yeah. You're going to follow my rules and do it. How about if I do your second? Do you have the square footage on it? Do you have the age on it? Okay. It's 2008. She's going to make me do it. So let's do it. All right. So here's the thing. I'm going to skip the whole how to figure it out because you better have the deets on it because I'm going to need them. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I use off market for my research, but that's not really what you want to use. You want to use sold. So what I'm going to show you, see this down here where it says show advanced options? No, not that one. Add remove fields. You click that button and all this stuff pops up. It's awesome. And I'm going to come in here and say closed. Do what now?
Not use the Cloud CMA. You're using it right from Connect.
Why would I use Cloud CMA? Cloud CMA takes what you're supposed to know how to do and does it for you incorrectly. This is not how to do a Cloud CMA. This is how Ken does CMAs. Yes? I want you to be able to know how Cloud CMA does it. Then if you find that it works for you, you could do it. Okay, so I do have close date in there. Let's cancel this back. Right here, close date. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back January of this year to June of this year for close dates. Can you tell me in your best estimate, first of all, let's find the address. So what's the address again? 488. Spell it. Nard. Terrace, and that's in Atlanta. So this ain't just DeKalb. This is City of Atlanta DeKalb. You're just killing me, woman. All right. Now, what you'll see right here is I automatically put in fixer, resale, and updated, remodeled. How? Because it's 2008. There you go. So the first thing I'm going to do, year is built. This is a bad comp to do for a suburban neighborhood, but we're going to do it. All right. Yeah. So here's the other problem we're going to have. Hang on. It's not Newton County, DeKalb County. You got 100 sales in that market area in the last 6 months within a mile of that house. So there's a market there. Would we agree? Yes. Sales means market. Within a mile, the 100 sales in a mile is a lot of houses. So now that means we got to do. So year built was what? 1948. All right. So here's the thing. When you get that old, forget everything I told you about bracketing. If it was 1948, anything up to about 1970 is going to be comparable to 1948 mostly. Anything after 1970, houses started getting bigger, look different. And we got to be, they ain't going to be 38 houses built in 1940, 38 to 40 to 50, whatever. So I'm going to say built before 1970. That knocked it down to 71. So we're doing good. Let's find square foot. I think you were wrong. Yeah, there it is. What was your square footage on this? 2008. So we're going to go 1,800, not 18,000, to 2,200. I'm down to 7 matches, guys. Is that my 10? Not really my 10. So let's do this. I mean, we're competing with the whole market, so I'm going to make an executive decision and up that to 1980. Still didn't change nothing. It's all old houses down there. Yes? Okay. Let's just see what we got. I range anywhere from $499 to $699. Is that a pretty broad range? Okay. So here's my question. Tell me about the condition of this house. It has been updated. Had to be. It's 80 years old. When was it updated? What does it look like it was updated? If it's got terracotta, it was in the 90s or early 2000s. Okay. Yeah. Like nice new tile or so sometime in the last 10 years they've updated this house. Fair enough. All right. So let's start at the bottom of this and just kind of look at stuff. What you're going to find is I'm looking at pictures. So we got a nice little cottagey house here. Looks like, and y'all can see these on your, can you see them? Do I need to go bigger? There we go. Very similar. Very similar. Looks like that. As nice as this or nicer? Okay. Just like that. That's just got slide-in range, regular old microwave, right? Okay. Looks good. Hardwood floors.
Too many materials.
Well, that's fine, but that's preference. I'm looking for condition more than I am preference. You do discount for ugly, but not this early in the process. All right. See, now there's your old tile. That ain't been updated since the 90s or the early 2000s. That's all before 2008, right? Yep, same with that. Okay, so we got an idea. Does yours look kind of like that though? All right. And what was that priced at? $499. So then let's go up to 450 or 550 because there's a big jump. That was the bottom, right? So what does this one look like? Let's come in here. Let's see what this looks like. That's a different stop. What happened, dude? What are you doing to me? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Someone went showboating on that one. Look at that. Is yours this nice? Now, here's the thing. This looks like it hasn't been updated, but what do we know about crazy ass millennials in the inner city? This is, what do they call this?
Retro.
It's retro chic.
Yeah.
They took the shower curtain down so it looked better in a photo. You know that thing had to have a shower curtain. Come on. All right. Not exactly a million photos. There's some more. There we go. So you think yours is like this or no? Yeah. Here's another bedroom. Don't matter in a house is small. Like I told you, this is a harder CMA because it's inner city and it's old. So condition is going to mean everything, right? Location is the location. It's inner city Atlanta. Location's awesome. The question is it 440 or is it 699? Okay. So this one, we got ourselves a little picture in here.
It has a basement.
It's got a garage. Okay. So this 585. So are we at the top of the market or are we at the bottom of the market? You ain't in the middle. 499 was the bottom. That's the one you said it looks like me. The top of this is 699. Y'all want to see what 699 looks like? Hello. Can someone say nice side of the block?
No garage. Are you parking on the street?
It don't matter, man. Not in Atlanta. 99% of the homes don't have a garage in Atlanta. So that's about knowing your market, right? You gotta have some knowledge before you do this. So, ooh, look at this. All shiny. Got a nice door. Okay, so here's the thing. I've gone 1, 2, 3 up, and then I went to the top. Now this is 590. Okay.
Yeah, see, that one got stairs because she has a loft in this one.
Okay. But I'm talking about the look. Does it, because this looks a little nicer than the first one we looked at. Okay. I mean, they've opened all the walls up, man. They opened the staircase up. You know, he's like, oh, well, we had stairs and they have stairs. Yeah, but I got news for you. 1948 didn't look like that, right? They've opened it up and they've taken beams. They've opened up these corners. See over here where that's open? This house has had major remodeling done where they took the walls out and put LVL beams in and opened it up. If you don't have that, you're in a different classification. $599. See, that's what I'm saying. So we know somewhere between $499 and really $560, which was the next one up, is where you're at. But did we get an accurate CMA from that? No. Why not? How many comps did we start with? 7. And here's the other problem. Remember I talked about go out 3 miles? If you go out 3 miles inner city Atlanta, that's like going all of Rockdale County here. The density matters. When the minute we went urban, we should be looking at stuff within a mile max, because within a mile radius, you could have 5 different distinct communities. Yes? If you don't believe it, take MARTA from the east side to the dome, and every 5 seconds you stop and it's got 4 neighborhood names on it because they're walkable to 3 different neighborhoods. See what I'm saying? All right, so we've done that one. That gave you all basic, right? Does anyone have a suburban Rockdale one that they want to use? Yes, ma'am. Hang on, we're going to start. Was that helpful, though? Good. All right. So we're going to go back to my search.
Those you did, those were all sold and closed, correct?
Yes.
So we have considered houses that are in that area, even next door, that's been on the market a little while, more bedrooms and all that. Do you could ever consider that?
Always. That's part of the validating process that we did not get to because we never got to the real number. So here's how you do it. Sold tells you what the market was. Under contract tells you what the market is. Available tells you what the market wants to be.
What about expired?
Expireds don't tell you nothing other than the agent priced it wrong.
Well, that tells you something.
No, it doesn't tell you anything, because here's the thing. A home that never sold does not tell you the value of that home,
Because it's not.
because you don't know if it was 10,000 out or 100,000 out or condition out or location out or the septic dump next door to the guy that he didn't disclose in the listing photos. You don't know. So what expired and withdrawn shows you is who you should be calling to have a deeper conversation about why their home didn't sell. That's all it's there for. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, ma'am. You're ready.
2606.
Hang on. Hang on. Let me clear some of my stuff. And see, this is actually, I'm actually looking at sold pending offer approval and under contract on that. We only had 7 in 6 months. So that price point is that's probably the price for fixed up homes. If I lowered that thing down or changed my parameters, I would get different pricing. Okay. Okay. Talk to me again about your address.
Bosworth Court.
In Conyers,
Yes.
Northeast Bosworth? Yes. Okay. I only got 5 matches at all. Hang on. Hang on. Yeah, yeah. That's not surprising. It just means that my parameters are not wide enough. Where is Bosworth Court? Yeah. Yeah. What's the name of the neighborhood over there? That's I sold 1 million homes in there. What it starts with a W. Crestview? Across the street from Crestview. I sold 1 million of it. M starts with M, maybe? Starts with M. Hang on. Let me look at my houses. It'll tell me. Millstone Manor. No, it ain't Millstone Manor. That's Rockdale. That's Locomotive. That's trash. Hey, Paddington's in that neighborhood. Let me pull it up. Point Royal? No, not Point Royal. The other one. It is in Point Royal. Awesome. All right. So I have assumptions about Point Royal because I sold a bunch of houses in there. So I don't have assumptions. I know what that Point Royal is a high-end, affluent community, large lots, big houses. Green River finished it out. So the million-dollar question is, when was your home built?
Just in 2020.
Doesn't tell me. When was your home built? That's going to matter. Because there's homes in there that were built in 2006 and 7, and some that were built in perfect. Okay. So it's bought new. So here's what I know. I'm dealing with a definitely a top 30%. So at a minimum, I've got to go out 5 miles in Rockdale. So when I change this to say 5 miles, the houses are going to, because what's within a mile of that thing? Nothing. 3 neighborhoods and a public park. And then it's north of the interstate. It's tucked away. And Newton County is just right there. And everything around it is not commercial, but industrial. Yeah, industrial. So if I go out 5 miles, I'm going to get a bunch of houses. But I've got to fix that. So your square footage, if it was built in 2020, is probably 3,500, 3,600. They're lying to you, but we're going to use it.
Over the family room, he did a.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Then he's probably okay. So let's do this. So on that one, what we're going to do year built, we're going to go 2018 because that's probably close, and then 2023. Okay, because there's going to be a lot fewer houses in that price bracket. You've got to be able to nail it down. I'm down to 13. Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't see. Is it 2 spaces for you?
Yeah. So on that one, because it's a higher home, I can go. I know when they started rebuilding homes in that neighborhood was in 2013, 14. And then they finished it up in like 2017, 18, or 2020, I guess. So I'm going to go 2017 to 2023, and now I've got 15 potential comps. Okay. Then when I go square footage, yeah, I keep putting in the wrong spot. Yeah, I know. My eyeballs don't work this good. Okay. I'm actually going to go 3,800 on this one and up to 5,000 because that's a big house. At 4,400, 5,000 square feet and 3,800 square feet is within 15%. And I'm down to only 2 comps. Okay. Now let's look at the comps. Do y'all understand how difficult this is to do with big houses that are expensive? Because they ain't selling. It's difficult. Harvest Mill is not remotely close to that house. There is one that was Paddington Way, same neighborhood. So let's look at this picture. This is a real comp. Does your house look sort of like this? Okay, this is actually a nicer one. It kind of look like this. Can you tell this agent don't know how to shoot photos? This is the big version. This is iPhone price points. So the first thing this house does your house kind of look like this, similar? Yeah. Photos are small. I can't help that. I didn't make them small. Yeah. See? All right. So now let's dig a little deeper on this particular comp. This thing sold for $695. Well, these are all sold. But let's see. This was in Point Royal, built in 2019. Okay. So it's very similar. This looks like a Green River house of some kind. It may not be Green River. 2019. It was built in 2019. This is 3,900 square feet, so it's smaller. But let's go to the basement. I'm assuming you have a basement on your home. No basement. Ooh, okay. Because this one's going to have no basement. Above area finished, below area finished, living area. Someone tell me where basement is on this. Down. That's square footage. I'm looking for if it's a slab or basement. Unfinished. Okay, so it does have unfinished basement. So this is a basement house at 3,800 square feet that sold for $695. Okay. Now, what I will tell you, that's your comp, but we need more comps. Okay. So what I've got to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do something that if I'm 5 miles out, what does that tell you about how many homes are selling at this price point? Okay. So we don't need to do a search for this price point in 5 miles of the house. We're big enough. It just needs to be Rockdale County. Okay. And between 2017 and 2023, 3,800 to 5,000, I still only have 4. Okay. Harvest Mill, not the same. Coventry, Klondike Heights would be. Klondike Heights house is nicer. Do we agree with that, Shannon? Why? Because we sold it. But does it look the same?
Might be some bias there.
Maybe some bias, but look at the photos. Now, does this look like your house, or is this nicer than your house? Comparable.
They do have a little bit more appeal.
Okay, when you say appeal, define appeal. No, I'm asking a real question. Because appeal is subjective, yes?
Yeah.
Here's why I asked the question. When we're thinking in terms of value, you cannot put your personal taste and preference into value. Okay? You're looking for materials, not ugly, uncommon ugly, right? It can't look bad, but oh well, my walls are prettier and they've decorated better. That's the sauce that gets a home that's equal in value sold. It does not get you 80,000 more dollars. Okay, cool. But that's why I asked the question the way I did, right? Because you're not on the wrong track with that. We just have to make sure it's in the similar whatever. So still looks similar. Okay. Now hold on. That's got a commercial fridge in it. What does that do for the perceived value of that kitchen over a regular fridge? It's a step up. It's gourmet now. Okay. Now that ain't 30,000 worth either. Although depending on where that fridge came from, it could have cost them 15, right? Or it could have cost them 5. But it's nice. Okay. So we get in here, carpet in the bedrooms, carpet in the bedrooms. Does your bathroom look like that? Okay. Excuse me, but at $695 in this era, in these neighborhoods, it should. Yeah. Okay. Nice. More photos. Now, this house got $790. The other one got 6 and change, like $685. You think the photos might have had something to do with that? Yeah. This is $4,580 with 2,600 square foot unfinished basement. Okay. So yeah, here's what I know that y'all don't know. That house is 4,200 square feet and that basement is 2,000 square feet. It's wrong. Because your tax man here loves to overinflate your square footages so he can beat y'all to death with higher taxes. And y'all need to be checking. If you live in this county, check your taxes because they will rob you. Rockdale is awful about it. They also have the highest millage rate in the world. Yeah. You have a question? Yeah, we got 5 minutes. Okay. So did we come up with an answer for her? Not really. Can I tell you what your challenge is going to be? What did I tell you about these bigger houses? Your competition may not be resales. If you only see 2 resales in 6 months, what's your competition? New construction. So let's leave that in play and let's come down here and let's take these filters off. Still only 4.
You got to take off your year.
You do. You're right. Look at you. Now I got 8. Still not many. But what do those look like? Well, there's 921.
Picture.
No, well, I mean, it's a pre-sale. Yeah, here these are under contract. Here's one at 830, but that's 4,600. But that looks nice at 830. There's the 790. Here's one on Christian Circle that's new construction at 695. Did that help us? That didn't feel good. Okay, what does that one look like? Square footage, 3,800 square foot, basement, no basement. But new construction, if it's same new construction, what did we say about the premium that a new construction gets? 10 to 15, right? Okay. But the square footage probably offset that. But unfortunately for you, you have a comp in the same neighborhood with an unfinished basement at 695. Here's the slab at 695 for basically the same house. See how that works? It gets ugly. Now what we're into now is the validating stage. We're trying to find the comps, but at the same time, we're validating. So there's one at that's the 695. That was our first comp. What is this one? Yeah, right here. Oh, here's 3,800 square foot for 635. That ain't good. Same lady, different location, 3,800 square foot slab house. Now I'm down to 635 for a slab house. And then here's one, Kings Point Way, built in 2019. 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,900 square foot, probably on a slab. It is on a slab, 575. You see where I'm at? Now, you probably can't convince this lady to list with you at 575. Here's the other thing I'm going to do for y'all, just so y'all can understand what you're up against in our markets. If I take the years built off and I take all the square footages off, everything. And I come back in here and I put in a price that's 550 to 700. I got 42 closings. Wait, make sure I'm in Rockdale. I'm in Rockdale. There's 42 possible closings. So what I would have to do to validate where my price is, I got to go broader because there's not enough new homes that look like my home that's been built in my time frame that's for sale right now. And the new construction that's out there ain't nothing selling at that price. So then we come in here and we start saying, okay, what's actually selling? That's a pretty broad price, 550 to 750. Let's check that. Let's do something real quick. Let's narrow that down and say your client really wants 600. What does your client want? So let's just bracket her between 600 and 700. Now you got 21 sales. Is that enough to do a comparison? This is a validation. Sometimes you have to do a validation based on whatever it is you got. These are closed. Okay. Here's 5,100 square foot built in 2004 on an acre in Shadow Lake. 3,500 square foot with 1,600 square foot finished in the basement. Sold for 600. Okay. Now you got it all over it in new, but let's see if it's been fixed up inside. All I got's a photo. Sucks to be us. That don't look like us. Let's just see if there's other things like us. That don't look like us. Nope. Nope. But what are you seeing now? That don't look like us either, but that's 4,200 square foot built in 1989. That's a definite look. Are we in Helen? Oh, hello, pool. Can you see why they might have got that price? Let's go inside. Ooh, that's ugly. You don't think that's some stuff, do you? But it's but it's 10 acres. Do y'all see what I mean by that? You got to determine what's important. What you're like, how the hell did they get 630 for that? It's on 10 acres overlooking the mountain view. And someone said, man, this house is huge. I can spend 100 grand on this and I can have $1 million house for 750. There you go. Is this fun, by the way? Are y'all learning? I'm not teaching you how to do a search. I'm teaching you how to think about valuing a property. Okay. That one kind of looks like it. Shadow Lake again. That Shadow Lake, when was that one built? 2006. Can I tell y'all a secret about Shadow Lake? That builder is my current builder that's building $1 million homes. So when we go look at what he did inside, I mean, that could be now. Timeless, elegant. It's old. It's 3 sides brick. That you don't see every day. in a nice neighborhood. Does that look like our houses? It's dated, but it looks good, doesn't it though? This is his dad, by the way. You know, it's a different floor plan, but it's in good shape. It's sold for 630. That one is on an acre, 3,700 square foot with 1,900 square foot finished basement. Did y'all hear what I said? What'd I say? 3,700 square foot, 1,900 square foot finished. So I want to go in there for real quick and go backwards down the list and find the basement. When it says finished in the basement, that's in the basement. That's in the basement. So how much do you think that added value to that house?
Double.
15.
Maybe 35.
Maybe 35 to 50. Okay. Maybe 35 to 50 because it ain't new and it's below ground, even though it's cool. Right. But if you needed 5,000 square feet, would you buy this or would you pay 100 grand more for a slab house that doesn't have this? Do you see what I mean by you have to validate what your competition is? Your competition is not the 3 homes on your CMA. Your competition is everything a buyer can buy for your price. Yes. We are now, was that helpful? Okay. Before we leave, 1 minute time. I wrote some things on the bottom for you. These are hidden traps that will sabotage your listing. You did your CMA right. You thought it was great. You convinced them. Your logic is impeccable. But you looked at all the prices and the months of supply and the days on market means that your house should absolutely be worth that. And you can find 3 comps that sold for that, but there's 800 homes for sale and none of them are selling. That will sabotage your listing. So it's not enough to know what things were. You have to validate it by what the market's doing. Next one, top 30%. Did we just discover that? What does it say? Not enough comparable sales to define a market. It was all over the board from 600 to 700. There's only 21 closings in the whole county. Right? So what's your competition? The whole county. All of it. Mid 30%. Condition needs to be move-in ready if it's going to sell at all. If you're from 350 and up, you're really from 300 and up, it's going to have to be new condition if it's going to sell at all, unless it's to an investor. Right? They can't get away with, I'm not going to do the touch up. I know my walls need to be painted. I'm not going to replace the carpet. I'll give them a credit. Is that going to work? It will not work. Bottom 30%. You should get an investor price cash offer to set the floor so your buyer understands what their house is actually worth to the dominant buyer in your market. We've had this conversation. How many of you guys keep seeing this stuff? Like y'all feel the market, right? Y'all feel it. Does it feel like a seller's market to you? No. They keep saying, well, it's kind of balanced. It's kind of seller's market. Depends on where you're at. But what happens to the average price in the US every year? It's going up. It's going up. It's going up. You're like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Can I tell you my theory behind that? When they quote those statistics, they're quoting sold homes that sold in the MLS because that's the people putting out the stat. What are they missing? The off-market investor sales. So when you say the median price is $450, but then you take 25% of the sales off the bottom of the market that turn over with investors, what's really the median price? Much lower than they say it is. Much lower. Yeah. That's a theory. I can't prove that.
So right now, just at this market center, we'll have 15 at least, that sell off market.
Yes.
Between 4 agents, only 4. 15.
Yeah.
That go.
You can ask me anything. Yeah. Apparently, was it hosted by anybody? No. Go ahead.
AI's evaluation tool.
What do I feel about AI's evaluation tool the same way I feel about Cloud CMA. If you're not the expert, what are you doing? Right? Now, if you're new and you want to try and validate it, go through this process and figure it out. Talk to another agent that knows what they're doing and come up with a number and then type it into AI and see what AI tells you. And if there's a major discrepancy, right, then that's where you may question, you may talk to someone a little more experienced and like, hey, am I off? Okay. Because AI as a tool is no different than his estimate. Okay. What do I mean by that? AI is taking macro things. When you look out the plane and you're flying over the country and you look down and there's Arkansas, what do you see when you fly over Arkansas, Bree? From a plane, what do you see when you fly over Arkansas? What's actually the most dominant feature is the most beautiful lake landscaping across the horizon you've ever seen. Because a big part of your state is a bunch of lakes in the northern half of the state. Yes? Okay. So when I'm flying to Texas, Arkansas is out my right side window, and I look down, I'm like, man, who wouldn't want to live there? But that's from 60,000 feet. Then you fly over, if you're landing in Little Rock, you're going to see something different. And when you get off the plane in Little Rock, you're going to see something different. Doesn't matter which town you're in. When you fly over Atlanta, what does Atlanta look like? It looks like the Amazon rainforest. It literally does. And then you get in here and like, where'd all these strip malls come from? Holy crap. Look at this 85 lanes of traffic. What in the world? AI is giving you the 60,000 foot view. Zillow, 60,000 foot view. It's 80% correct. It's actually within a pretty good margin 80% of the time, but you don't trust it. You validate it with your expertise and knowledge. Yes, ma'am.
Sure that you do. What's the top 30% price point in Rockdale?
In Rockdale, in terms of prices, 30% is really going to start about 350 and go up above that. I know that you don't want to hear that. Okay. That's yeah, but 30% is a lot.
Oh, are you asking the top 30 at the top? Oh, I'm sorry. So that's anything, what about 580?
What are you talking about?
I'm saying at the top of the price point, what's our top 30%?
Anything above 350. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so if we start at 350, we go to 2 million. That's what she's asking.
Right. What is the
Hang on. Just let me help you out a little bit.
I think I saw a 7 million listed.
7?
I might have been looking at different areas. I can't remember.
Just give me a second.
Get numbers. Look at numbers. Look at spreadsheets. Sorry, y'all. I know we're 10 minutes into this.
Yeah, anyone that needs to leave can leave.
But
Yeah, we need, I mean, we know it's being, we need a little more time.
No. You need what you need is you need a workshop that teaches you how to do a search in MLS.
we do those twice a quarter, but I need to show up. Because then when you get in these, you're still lost. We do this for contracts where we sit down and read that contract. I think some of you think that's not converting.
Yeah.
You gotta show up for them.
Okay. So do y'all see this? This is my stats board. First quarter of 2026, we had 215 sales in Rockdale County. If I take 0.3% of that, that's 64 sales. That's basically everything below 250. Right? So to get to times 2, to get to the top 30%, it's anything above 130 sales. So I've got 32 plus 39 plus 39 plus 39. I'm at 149 at 350. The top 30%, look what happens. It goes from 39 to 25 to 14 to 13 to 5 to 6. So by the time I get to 500, that's 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 divided by 215 is 6.5% of the market is above 500,000. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Y'all have a misunderstanding of what your market is. And that needs to inform how you do comps. So when we were looking at, she wants 6 to 650, she's fishing for whales, right?
And we go over these stats, guys, once in a while.
2 weeks from now, I'm going to be presenting the updated second quarter stats at team meeting 2 weeks from today. And I'll pass out this form so everybody can see where they're at.
If you were on the lead gen call this morning, it's when I was surprised being called. Granted, the privilege to be there, but then I had to do an expired role play in less than 30 seconds of joining. But it's important on this call because you get asked those stats sometimes. And so when we're role playing, it doesn't come naturally if you don't know your facts, right? But no one can question what I'm stating factually, right? If I'm in these classes because I know my area. The problem is you don't know what to say because you don't know the stat, you don't know the facts, right? So it makes it a little bit harder. But I thought Quentin did a good job of pulling that out this morning. Legions every single day. Not fine. Virtually. No excuses. Or in-house using time. Guys, really important. DocuSign telling me that you've been teaching this for a few months now. If you're not in the classes, all the classes that we're holding with Scott LaVoy, you're going to be in trouble if you have all things in there. Okay. You don't have anything ready yet, probably okay. But if you do, and you don't export me, they're going to go away. Since my son was killed last year, so we're doing annual backpack drive. It's July 18th for once a while. We're gonna have food free for everybody. Haircuts for the boys. We're giving away napkins breaks for the girls. It's like a raffle. It's just a lot of fun, a lot of food. We're gonna have like spray tent. We're gonna have other things set up. So, you never know what you may need. And it's going to be, it's going to be,
It's, Lex Lemon Church. It's literally like 7 minutes from here, if I'm not mistaken.
It's on the calendar. If you click on the link, all the details are there. The flyers are out. But we need to stand behind each other because we've preached our family business.
Yeah.
And one of our agents lost their son a year ago. So we need to get behind that, support the cause, because we don't know what people are going through. And if you're in some of the conversations I had, you definitely want to get behind this because people go through stuff and they just smile through it. We have a way to push. So a couple of big things coming up.
Can I make one comment about my class?
Silence for me, good job too.
I recognize that having done this for 20+ years, the way I do it is not the way people teach to do it. If you just internalize this, it doesn't matter what systems you use to find your comps. But the most important part of this is to go into validating what you think the price is. You need to go in like a buyer and pull up your search parameter that matches what you say it's worth. And you need to be number 1, 2, or 3 best value on some level, right? Like you may not have 8 acres, but your house is in amazing shape. Or if it's in crappy shape, but you're on 10 acres, you've got to validate the value, because if you can't validate the value in your mind, you can't expect a buyer to validate it in theirs. And if you can't validate it, it means you need to go back to square one and find a better way to price that house. That makes sense? So all the stuff we did at the end, or how I did it, I don't recommend it. Everybody, my brain is different, guys. It's different from everybody. You want to use Cloud CMA and you can validate the price after getting your Cloud CMA, you use Cloud CMA for the symbol. But if you get there and the number doesn't make sense in the market, then it ain't working. You got to do something else. That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Sheena, lunch is ready?
We need about 5 minutes for lunch break.
Okay, guys.
I can keep talking.
I follow.
So, you look right.
I was gonna ask you, if now or